it's Young Living Country Girl here, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about some of the myths about homeschooling. Okay, so first off, homeschooling has been an amazing blessing for our family. We've been able to spend a lot more time as a family, and with my husband's work schedule, he probably wouldn't even see the kids if it wasn't for homeschooling or being able to homeschool. So it has been an amazing blessing, and so thankful we can do it. That being said, it does take a lot of time and a lot of patience to do it, but it's so worth it in the end, I think. My kids are with me 24/7, and in some ways I always think, like, don't they want to go? Don't they want to go do something? And then when we are separated, they're like, Mommy, or, I mean, it's hard. So, I mean, I teach Sunday school because my son doesn't want to leave me, and he's 6 years old, you know, which he's not shy, don't get me wrong. Like, if I'm around, he'll run off and play and interact with all the kids and stuff, as long as I'm somewhere nearby. You know, he wants to know that I'm nearby, and if he needs me, I'm there. But at the same time, like, my daughter, she's a social butterfly. Both of them are extremely social and love talking and love hanging out with people. They can interact with not just kids their age, they can interact with adults, all different ages, and it's really incredible to see that. I have a lot of people who have said that, like, how old are your kids? They seem very mature for their age, and they'll come up and sit and have a conversation with an adult just as easily as they will with kids, because they are used to that. They're used to talking with an adult all day when they're talking with me and stuff. So, although half the time I think I'm just as bad of a kid. And my husband, yeah, he is. So, he's a big kid. So, you know, but they're very, very comfortable with that. We went to a presentation, and there was a whole group of people sitting in the room, and I don't know, like 50, I don't know, 100 people or whatever, and we were sitting on the tables kind of towards the front, the four of us, my husband, myself, and my kids. And the guy doing the presentation had asked a couple questions, and without, like, even a moment, my kids are like, boop, giving answers and, like, talking, and he's like, I think these are the most interactive kids I've ever had at a presentation. And I mean, at the time my son was 5, so it was really cool to see that they were actually more outgoing than a lot of the adults, so, and willing to go out there and to talk and stuff. So I think it's pretty amazing. And, you know, that's kind of, I think, one of the myths is that if your kids are homeschooled, they're going to be, like, super sheltered, and they're not going to know how to interact and socialize. And we are not busy people out with, you know, soccer and blah, blah, blah. We don't do all that stuff. So really, it is just a matter of hanging out with myself and my husband. And we go out to places. We, you know, when we're out and about, I think at every store we shop at, we've made friends with the people that work there, because we talk and we hang out and we interact with them. And my kids are used to interacting with, like, adults, you know, when they go to these places and stuff. But then they also have a great time playing with their friends at Sunday school or church or wherever. So being homeschooled doesn't mean that your child's going to be sheltered and that they're going to be like hermits or something like that. That's not the case at all. I think another myth is that you have to start first thing in the morning and get your schoolwork done, okay? I know that works for a lot of people. They get up, they have breakfast, do their chores, start school. For us, that doesn't work because of my husband's schedule and because my daughter is not a morning person. Both of those two together make it hard for us to get up first thing and start school. We start school after lunch. Some days that's right after lunch. Other days, if it's beautiful outside and I have some chores I want to do, we'll go outside and we'll play for 3 or 4 hours and then come in and start around 4 or 5 o'clock. That kind of leads to the second or third myth is you have to do 10 hours or 7 hours or whatever a traditional school day is. You have to put those many hours in at homeschool. You don't have to put those many hours in. My daughter can be done with all of her lessons in an hour if she puts her mind to it. Most days we're looking at about 2 hours, and we take a little break in between. It's not just 2 hours straight. They'll take about a 15-minute break or whatever in between those. But she can be done with her subjects in 2 hours easily. So you don't have to do 7 to 10 hours of teaching a day. My daughter's math program, she can do herself on her computer. So while she's doing her math program, I can be working with my son more one-on-one, you know, and then she needs spelling depending on the day of the week. If I have to do a test or a pre-test or read her story or something, then do the lesson. Then I might be, you know, more involved. Other days she can do them herself. Her grammar pretty much always requires some kind of lesson to be taught, unless it's like a test day or something. And that's, you know, maybe 15, 20 minutes, if that. And then we do with the program we're doing right now with Bob Jones, you do one page together, and then the next page she does by herself. So it's very quick, you know. Science and social studies, we will all jump on the couch and we will, you know, read the books together and learn about different things. If it requires a project, then we'll move into that area. Same thing with art, you know, if we're going to be doing something like that, we'll do it at the end. And again, that does not take that long. So you don't need a school for all these hours. And we don't do science, social studies, and art every day. Those are broke up throughout, you know, the week stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't have to school for 7 hours a day. You can do it. You can start whenever you want, as long as you get it done. That's kind of my thing. And even there's days where my daughter, you know, at the end of the day, she still hasn't done her math. And I'm like, well, you know that you're going to be doing, you know, school in the summer because that disc has to be finished. And if it means you finish and you only get a week off before we start our next school year, then you have no one to blame but yourself. You know what I mean? Like, so she knows that. She knows if she wants to have a summer break, she's going to have to do it. So that's kind of been my whole philosophy with her. I don't like to argue and scream and yell and get all crazy, and it doesn't do good for either one of us. So she pretty much knows. And if she's way far behind on any of her subjects and she wants to have a play date or do something, the answer is no, because you're behind on your schoolwork. So, you know, it works that way. But that's my thing. You don't need to have a special designated room to homeschool. We have this little, I think it's like 7 by 10 room, maybe. And it's my office as well as our schoolroom. And it's literally right off the front door. So when everybody walks in, it's right there. So we try to keep it nice, but majority of the time it's all kind of a disarray. And you know, that's what we use for our schoolroom. Oh my gosh, I see all these blogs. They're amazing when I see all these people showing their rooms and, you know, have a whole room dedicated or a whole basement. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I would love to have that. I could have so much more displayed and so much more put out, and it wouldn't look all crammed into a little space. But you know what? You'd work with what you have. That might be just one single bookcase, and you know, everything else gets stored out in the garage, and what you're working on is here, you know, in the house, and you're on the dining room table. It could be anywhere. You know, you don't have to have a schoolroom. You don't have to have a dedicated area. Obviously, it is easier, but I've seen numerous people just take, you know, an IKEA hutch in their dining room and just have, you know, a basket that has their kids' subjects and their things in there, and then they pull out what they're working with. It totally works. You don't have to get it. I'm finding that my daughter is more distracted by a lot of the things in our schoolroom than they're actually beneficial. So that's another kind of myth. So the last one, and I think we fall into this category whether you want to or not, you don't have to be crazy, you don't have to live in the country, and you don't have to be a Christian, and you don't have to be some hippie or something like that to homeschool. Anybody can homeschool.
It's a homeschool freedom.
Like I said, I think we fall into the crazy Christian country people, but that just happens to be who we are. But we have friends from all different, you know, walks of life that homeschool as well, and that I think is sometimes something that people think. It's like, oh, will you homeschool? Oh, you must be one of those Christian people. Oh, you must be one of those, you know, country folk or something. And
he's crazy.
You don't have to be all of that. You do have to be a little crazy, but we're good with that. So there you guys go. That is a few myths that I wanted to share with you about homeschooling that we find to be not true, and that we hope you guys don't let those myths scare you, and that you guys decide to homeschool. I'd love to hear about it. If you have any questions or comments, we'll talk to you later. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye. Bye.